Good morning. Welcome to episode 2. Got my coffee. Today I thought I would try to challenge myself with something a little different. We always play fantasy and I typically use white box. But today, because I'm doing this whole thing of a bet with my friend Bill, I decided that I wanted to try something a little different. Sorry about that. That's my dog going inside. I'm out in my garage. I don't know if you can actually see all this. Yeah, I'm out in my garage. I've set up like a little quick thing to allow me to record with some better lighting, and hopefully this looks better. Anyway, what I wanted to do today was challenge myself. I always do fantasy. So I actually bought this game a long time ago, probably over a year ago. And it is a fun little silly space adventure. You can see like some of the art is kind of funny. It's a complete game system, but with a lot of little funny bits. There's like some animal monsters. They have, mecha robots or mecha armor you can wear. But it's kind of a neat little thing. It actually breaks down to, it's about 11 pages of rules. And then it's got this whole galactic guidebook where it takes each system and tells there's random tables throughout this thing. But you can do a random table to see when you come into the sector, what do your sensors detect. There's always some sort of detail or adventure hooks, and then there's all kinds of stuff of what's going on, and then a delve. That's kind of what this game is built on, is you explore the galaxy and you go on these delves. But each section has, there's like, some of it's silly cartoonish stuff, but it's really kind of neat. It's really well done. But there is a lot of random tables throughout it. And last night I woke up at 1:30 because I have to pee because I'm old. And like, this is a pizza planet. Some of it is just ridiculous. But while I was sitting there, I had the idea that I wanted to challenge myself and do a science fiction. And back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, is I have always been able to jump into a dungeon delve or something like that, very simple and very easy, very quick, without a lot of forethought or planning. And so I thought I would sort of test myself a little bit, push the boundary, since I'm already challenging myself with this, to force myself to play. I would try to challenge myself by doing a fantasy game. And this book came to mind. I'm actually going through a lot of my gaming material that I've bought over the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm whittling it down, and I'm actually planning on sending this book to Bill. So Bill, if you're watching, this will eventually become yours. But I've got the whole set here. It actually comes with hex sector bits of the space galaxy that you can explore. It's got all the different planets, and these planets are actually, or these sectors are actually spelled out in the book. So you can actually just draw a couple cards and say, we're in the Vanta sector, and next to us is the McGrath sector and the Lupin sector, or whatever. But it's a pretty neat little thing. I've never used it because it's a little bit goofy, and that's not really my jam. But I figured, what the hell, let's challenge ourselves with this. So last night, as I was saying, I got up to pee at 1:30. I couldn't go back to sleep, and the idea formed in my head that I wanted to do this. So what I decided to do was, I'm using white box as a chassis. I've kind of developed in my head, thanks to my inability to sleep last night, what I'm calling shorthand white box, which is a system based on white box, but streamlined for solo play and quick jump into the games. I'm not going to spell it all out, and I'm not going to write it out because most of it's just in my head. But basically, the gist is you have 2 abilities that are bonuses, and the way I do it is I say, all right, The first ability, which will be a +2, is this die, and the second one, which is a +1, will be this die. So I roll it for character creation. So the fourth ability is Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and I know I'm not going in order per OD&D, but bite me. It's my video. So Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence would be number 4. So if I was making this character, Intelligence would be a +2, and Wisdom would be a +5, Charisma being the 6th ability. But you get each ability, if it's a fighter type class, they have a basic hit bonus of +1 at first level. And then you also have a save. Everybody's save starts at 15. If you are some sort of other grouping of classes, so I broke everything down. So like in white box, you have fighter, thief, priest, and magic user. So I kind of break it down. A fighter, ranger, barbarian, whatever, those are combat classes or occupations, and those always get a +1 for their basic hit bonus. Wow, I'm going way off tangent here. If you're a technical skill or technical occupation like a scientist or a technician, then instead of your basic hit bonus going up every level, your save goes down a level. And in this shorthand white box, anything that you want to do that isn't covered by the rules, you use a save if it's something that you would be skilled at. So like my guy is a human smuggler. He gets a +2 on any saves with a strength or dexterity check. He also gets a +1 in melee or missile per level. But if he was doing something that would be based on what collectively we could call a smuggler, think Han Solo. He can shoot, he can bluff, he can pilot his spaceship, he can hot rod, or he can jump a, navigation or whatever. Those all sort of fall under like smuggler type skills. Then he would use his save to do that, meaning you'd have to roll over this to be successful in that. And a combat occupation, their basic hit bonus will go up 1 every level, and their save will go down every other level. But that is completely in my head, a quick system that I devised just so that I could freaking play. Anyway, so I did that, and then what I did is I started my session. What I did is I simply used my Oracle, which if you've watched my channel, you probably know my Oracle people have called the Freedom Oracle. I have a video on it if you want to go watch it, but essentially I ask a question. Blue die is a yes, red die is a no. Let's see, does Diego own a spaceship? In this case, the answer is yes. If I want to apply some sort of advantage to either a positive or a negative answer, I have a slider die that moves in between them. If I think the answer is more than likely a yes answer, the slider die rolls or slides to that side. So if either of these die beat the no die, then the answer to my question is yes. And the strength or the amount that these dice beat this die will also determine how strong of a yes, or in the case of, say I roll a 2, here I get a 6, and I get a 5. This is a very strong negative. So if you are familiar with solo games and oracles, you could say that this is a yes, no, and or but, if you want to use that kind of terminology. Anyway, what I did is I went and I started playing. My first session, I played for about an hour to an hour and a half. A lot of that was this opening thing of just figuring out what the hell I'm starting with. Because again, I'm not at a dungeon entrance going into a dungeon. So I quickly determined that Diego, who is my captain here, Diego Maldaboon and Carl Poline, which is a pretty cool YouTube channel. If you want to look up that guy, he talks about reading, writing, and journaling. Very good channel. Anyway, Diego owns the Torbit, a small spaceship that technically is space-worthy, but is generally easy to repair. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. What I used to get started were tables that I found in this book. Some of these I just randomly picked one, Like, for example, what kind of spaceship I had. I rolled using this little chart they have here. And then I determined what its purpose was, which I believe it was a research. And then I rolled here for the starship personality, and that's where I got bucket of bolts, technically space-worthy, but easily repaired. Makes me think of the Millennium Falcon. Oops, item that's not on the screen there. There you go. Number 15, bucket of bolts. But I used the tables from here to kind of figure out where I was starting with, and this game book has a lot of great things like what's the situation type, and I use this at the beginning. My sensors detected a where was it at? It was somebody that needed help. It was one of these, and so from there I basically just built out the session. My guys were coming in from a previous mission where their mechanic was killed, possibly based or caused by a decision made by the captain. So Diego's, I guess, a little questionable here. And as I went through the adventure, I just kept kind of adding stuff, and I used either an oracle or I used one of the tables in this book. And again, this book has some fantastic solo stuff in the back and in the front. Here you've got finding loot, tables for cool little space stuff that you might get. There's this whole section on what you might find in space or what you might encounter. There's a whole bunch of captains. You can see some of the silly art that the book has. Some of them are just ludicrous, like Chief, Captain, or Chef Radigan. Some of them are just like totally stupid and silly. But this would probably be a great game to play with kids. Captain Winston Picklesworth. I mean, come on, he's like a freaking raccoon or a chihuahua or something, wearing shades. You can't beat it. A turtle, you know. Captain Pappy R. Sturtle. Anyway, a bunch of silly stuff. But I use these tables to kind of come up with a starting point for my adventure. And what happened was that we had encountered a ship that said it was had a hard drive or hyperdrive failure, and that it had essential medicines for a nearby colonial planet. Using my technician, he did some sensor scanner sweeps. And again, none of this was rules. This was just ideas that popped into my head. You know, having watched Star Trek for decades and Star Wars, I thought it made sense that a spaceship should have sensors. So that's what I did. He tried to pick up some stuff. Or was there some strange things going on? Did he figure it out that it was a trap? He was able to figure out how many beings were on the ship, and that was one person and two droids. And I quickly did up a diagram of a spaceship. We successfully docked, and then we decided to come in. We were prepared for an ambush, but they ambushed us a little bit ahead of time. We thought that they would probably, the captain thought maybe they would come out of the cockpit, ambush us from that direction, because logically you would never want to give up the cockpit to your spaceship. However, they tricked us and they attacked us as soon as we came in, and then we went into combat. I also wrote up quick stats for Captain Small and his two droids, which I just denoted with Droid 1 and Droid 2. It was actually pretty dangerous because Carl was actually beat up by Droid 2 and knocked out. In the end, Diego was able to knock out the captain, and then I was left with a little quandary. If I have the droids who are working for the human and the human is taken out, what happens then? So I randomly figured out, using my oracle, what would happen. It ended up that the droids, one shut down, and the other droid, which was a repair droid, which opened up the possibility of maybe acquiring that droid to repair our ship, which is actually what I ended up doing. Carl was knocked out, but Diego was able to bring him back, and we started exploring the ship. We were able to reprogram Droid 2 so that it could be a repair droid. Droid 1, which I originally thought would be a great idea to keep as a, an enforcer, kind of like K2SO in Rogue One, like a droid sidekick or whatever. Unfortunately, Carl was not able to reprogram Droid 2, and Droid 2 rather than keep them around with questionable priorities, we chucked him into space and then shot him. Because who wants a bad droid on your side? Then they also found they were able to, explore the ship, and they found some fuel. They refreshed the batteries on their ship, and they also got some rations. Unfortunately, the bay was empty, but they did find a hibernating space carnivorous stellar scarab. And that was something that I pulled from one of the tables in here that I determined they would be able to resell for 60 credits. So they had something to sell. And then also I got to thinking about what else might be of value in the spaceship, and I thought maybe intel. So they were able to hack into the computers or the ship's computer, and they found 2 systems nearby. And using the pages in the book, let's see, this one is the Inti. Let me see if I can find that real quick. That's this space system. And then using this space system and the random tables in it, I was able to discover that there are ruins of an ancient wrecked moon that they could explore that had lots of caves that have treasure inside of them, and various, what was the one? There were some roddenberry bushes. I'm guessing that's a Star Trek reference. And then there was also the Flux system, which is a dangerous rift system full of nasty surprises where the fabric of reality has torn and opens. Void beasts commonly exit from the rift and cause chaos. So I decided to stop right there because I had played about an hour at that time. But I wanted to share this with you because I, for one, find it very easy to step into the shoes of a fantasy game and get into playing really quick. But when I think about other systems or other genres like modern or science fiction, I find it very hard to go from 0 to 60 and get into a good game and have fun playing it. But doing this and using the tables in this book, but then also utilizing my own oracle, I was able to come up with really good, fun system that is a good, I think with this, I could continue this. I don't know if I will, but I could continue this because I set the initial foundation, if you will, for the setting that I'll be playing in. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I want to thank everybody who's watched my video that I posted yesterday. When I last looked, I had almost 1,100 views, which is about 1,000 more than I normally get. So I don't know if y'all are excited to have something else to watch or my cool graphics. I don't know, but I've had more viewings of that video than just about any other video I've had for the entire length of time I've had my YouTube channel. And that literally was over 1,000 views in under 24 hours. So thank you. I think I'm gonna try to continue doing these. I typically work in the afternoon and I have my mornings off, so I can do a quick little session. If there's something you would be interested in seeing me try, like genres, let me know in the notes or in the comments. I will see you guys next time. Thank you.